Hello to my fearless leaders. It's me, Kelly Coleman, coming out to you to the District Avon 1170 legends and our leaders of the mighty 5483. I'm excited to have the gang together tonight as we get together on what would normally be the Thursday that we'd have our leadership webinar. But in lieu of that webinar, I am trying a new format of coming out to you via video in hopes that I will have more participation in terms of views than we would have during our webinar. So I know it's a busy time for each of you. Maybe you're with your family. Speaking of families, my family, that's baby Hank, my husband Todd. Speaking of families, yeah, I know that it's a busy time with your family. Summertime is always busy, hopefully with family vacations and lots of fun being had. Kids out of school. In many cases in your household, you just your regular jobs in addition to, of course, your Avon, a lot happening. And so, like I mentioned, just in lieu of our regular webinar, I felt like we get more participation in this busy summertime by trying another format. And so with that said, I'm happy to have the gang together. Of course, I'd love to see each of you live, but this is the next best thing as we ensure we just stay on the same page with our businesses. Maybe we're looking ahead to future campaigns and ensuring that we are creating our own success. Maybe looking at our current campaigns to be sure that we are maximizing and leveraging every incentive and opportunity available, and doing some very well-earned recognition. These are just a few things that I want to be sure that we're staying on top of, even in the busy summer months. So with that said, I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint that looks very similar to what we would use if we were doing a webinar, and go through some pieces of the business that are very important at this point in time. Really lots that's happening, some directives that are critical that I need your support on. And so I'm looking forward to sharing all that with you. I will give you a little disclaimer. This is going to take about 30 minutes. So be sure that you have plenty of time to view this, and let's just get ready for a really great leadership meeting. So 1 second, I'll share my screen and we're going to jump right in. All right, and we're back. So again, thanks for joining. I love having the gang together, and I wish we could get together more and live, like I mentioned. But nonetheless, it's so critical. We're at a really important time in our Avon business. You know, Avon is really needing to get back to health, and it's going to start with us. So getting on the same page is just such an important part of what we're doing day in and day out. And we're not going to make it happen unless all hands are on deck and we collectively win as one team, one Avon. We may have two districts here, two sister districts, but I know collectively you guys have the same destination, and together we're going to make it happen. I definitely feel confident in that. We will win together, one team, one Avon. And speaking of one, we have one priority at this point in time. Before I go into that, let me share. I had the incredible opportunity of traveling to Atlanta last week with a couple of our key 1170 leaders, and we had the privilege and honor of meeting Avon's new Director of Sales, Director of North America Sales. Her name is Margaret Graman, and wow, let me just say, it was one of the best Avon days I've had in a long time. Hearing Margaret, seeing her vision, it was incredible. It truly was. This lady has only been with Avon for less than 3 months, and what she has already seen, what she's already experienced, you know, her fresh eyes and her perspective is just, it's right on time. It's what we need. She really understands our opportunity, but she sees our challenges. And so with all of that in mind, Margaret's directive, based on, you know, her past experience and where she sees Avon in our current state, she sees that we have, you know, the opportunity to really kind of filter everything and just focus on one priority. And that priority is us as a nation, and then individually, it trickles down to us individually, but us as a nation, the goal is to grow representative count. That's our one priority, to grow rep count, to grow your teams, to grow your downlines. She calls it countdown to crossover. And here's how it works. Essentially, there's two different pillars of countdown to crossover. The ultimate goal is to cross over to a staff number the highest of where we were last year, to cross over that number by the end of this year in campaign 26. But before we get to 26, she wants to give us some thresholds of targets to meet. She calls it bend the trend. And she wants us to bend the trend to cross over certain thresholds even before 26 as we work towards that ultimate goal. Our first bend the trend is to cross over to a +1 advantage versus where we were in campaign 11 by the end of campaign 16. Yep, here we are. We're in campaign 16 now. So we're bending the trend and we need to cross over +1 versus our campaign 11 number. Let's look at those specific numbers for each district, starting with 1170. Our first goal of bend the trend is to end campaign 16 at 396. Currently, we're 5 away from this number. So in campaign 16, we need a growth of 5. In campaign 26, our ultimate goal is 418. Currently, we're 31 away from that stack. So between now and the end of the year, we need to grow by 31 or 2 to 3 a campaign. But first is the goal of campaign 16 and to grow by 5. All right, now on to 5483. Our first goal, the one we're after right now, is to end campaign 16 at 408. Right now, we're 6 away from that goal, so we need to grow by 6 in campaign 16. And then, ultimately, our goal to cross over in 26 is 438, and currently, we're 35 away from that goal. So, 3 people on average of growth in campaign is what we need between now and 26 to make that crossover campaign 26 goal. But right now, our focus is in growing by 6 in campaign 16. That's where we're at. And that's where we need to be. 16 is the first step. I don't want to look ahead to 26 now, guys. I don't know about you, but when I see a growth of 31 and a growth of 35, it makes me feel a little overwhelmed. I don't want to look at that because we have a long time between now and 26. I would rather look at our current goals because I know for sure that both of these teams can grow by 5 or 6 in one campaign to hit that goal. We've done it before and we can do it now, but here's the deal. I cannot do it without you. I need every leader, each and every one of you on board to make this happen. And I need a lot of new leaders on board as well. We need to look at your team and identify your next candidate, AKA promoter. If we're looking at the advanced leadership model, we're now looking at promoters rather than candidates. And we need to identify your next promoters because as we grow promoters, they're going to help bring in more new people too. So between you bringing in people and you identifying promoters, bringing people, that will help us to grow our additions as we manage our removals and essentially grow. That's what it's all about. That's the priority. And I know that these are the teams to take us to that crossover as fast as possible. Let's look at this a little bit more deeply. Your role in crossover is essential. We can't do this without you. This may be a Margaret directive, but it all flows downhill. She's got a goal that's broken down into our regional goal, that's broken down into our division goals, that's broken down into our district goals that I just shared, which happens with you. So how do you grow your representative count? By the way, when I talk about representative count, sometimes I use staff. So I just want to say representative count and staff is the same thing. And that's the same thing as your upline or your downline and your team, okay? But that said, how do you grow staff? Simply stated, growing staff means having more additions than you have removals every campaign. Additions are new representatives who place their first order. That's an addition. An addition is not a contract, all right? You put a contract in or you have somebody who self-appoints online, they are pending. They're not even on our staff. As a matter of fact, they're not an addition or on our staff until they have their first order. We need more of that. Then we need to manage our removals. A removal is a representative who is going to become inactive either because they carry a balance that's past due 3 consecutive campaigns, or because they've been inactive with a no order for 5 consecutive campaigns. Either way, past due 3 or inactive 5, those are our pending removals that we need to save. And when we save them from being removed, we save our staff. And then simultaneously, when we have more additions, we grow. So how do you manage this? Great question. Well, in the appointment piece, it's pretty simple. You need to appoint more new people. We don't need to rely on AMA. AMA's icing on the cake. We need to be out in the field, pounding the pavement and talking to people and bringing more new people aboard. When I look at our current leadership bases and I see our most successful current leaders, it's no doubt that the ones who are having the best success right now are the ones who are bringing in their own appointments. Immediately when I make this statement, several of you come to mind, and I applaud you for what you're doing and getting out in the field and traditionally working the business. And then you get an AMA lead and you convert them, and it's like icing on the cake, like I mentioned. But bottom line is we need more new people, and that's going to be up to you. Simultaneously, you manage your removals by using your action items in Downline Manager to assess who your pending removals are. Anybody in your action item who's in active 5 needs to be contacted right away so that you can help save them and get them back on track, help them get an order so that they're not removed. In the same spot in your action items through your Downline Manager, you can assess your past 2 3s. Who in your first 3 generations is carrying a balance for 3 consecutive campaigns? They need your help. Pick up the phone and call them. How can you help them to get their bill paid? Maybe they have returns to do. Maybe they don't know how to make a payment. They need to get that payment, that balance paid down, and an order in to stay active. When you manage those 2 removals simultaneously with your additions, you're going to grow your staff. And when you grow your staff, you're going to make more money. Let's talk about what's in it for you when it comes to staff growth. I realize that this is the Margaret directive, but what I love about this is that when we directly impact our staff, even though we're just focusing on one priority, we directly impact our staff and grow it, we are essentially going to grow every other indicator in our business, because the formula for success in this business is you having more staff on your team, more people in your downline in all generations. And when you have that, you have more orders on your team and all your generations. And when you have that, you have more unit sales, right? And when you have that, you have more earnings in your pocket. It's that simple. Don't you love this formula? It really kind of just spells out the what's in it for you in regards to why staff is so important. And so let's filter everything else out. If you're not doing anything else but growing staff, then that's okay. This is the key to you making more money. Bringing in more people, having more orders, those people, that group will have more orders, which will equate to more unit sales, which will equal more earnings in your pocket. Plus, more representatives on your staff. In addition to the more earnings from the unit sales, it gives you more people to work with to promote the business. And when you have more promoters, candidates in your business, you can then partner with them to title. As they title, you in turn will grow your title. So really, the fundamental element of your business is your staff. And those individual representatives equate to not just earnings through sales, but the potential for them to grow, which will help you grow. It's the key foundation to everything that you're doing. So I would certainly say that's the biggest what's in it for you, right? But in typical Avon fashion, there's always more what's in it for you. And that's holding true here in crossover, as Avon is offering multiple incentives to support your crossover journey, starting with a very exciting offer to double your sales leadership check in campaigns 16 through 18. All unit leader and above are eligible to make this happen. And what you need to do is achieve your order goal and $100 plus order goal. And when you do that, Avon's going to match your sales leadership earnings check and double it. So again, the time frame 16, 17, and 18, and you need to achieve the goal in all 3 campaigns. But the bonus that they're matching is the one that you earn in campaign 16. So you want to maximize your campaign 16 unit sales to make that as big as possible, because that's the one when you achieve that will be doubled. Okay, here's a perfect example. If a representative sales leadership earnings check That's paid in 17. That's the 16 performance though. If it's $300 and you meet the goals of the incentive, you're going to receive an additional $300 for a total of $600. That's the double your sales leadership check. How exciting. So many of you guys, last time we had this opportunity, so many of you guys doubled your check and you earned the incentive. And I know that you're going to do it again. But the time is now. 16 is here. And not only do you need to meet that order goal and that $100 order plus goal, but you also need to make sure that you maximize this check as much as possible, because this check in campaign 16 is the one that they're doubling. So you got to make it happen. That's incentive number 1 to support crossover. How about incentive number 2 to support it? We have a new and very lucrative mentor bonus program that's happening between campaigns 14 through 19. So it's in progress and it's open to all unit leaders and above. How it works is you're going to make $50 for every new qualified promoter that you bring into your business. How? When you identify a new leadership person in your first generation and mentor them on how to recruit 2 new qualifying people onto their team, they're going to earn the product bundle and get fit check, and you're going to make $50. And how about this? There's no limit to how many mentor bonus checks of $50 that you can earn. So who is your next candidate, AKA promoter? Who are you going to work with and mentor to start their team so that they can earn through the Get Fit recruiting and you can earn the mentor bonus? You can look at every single person on your team and mentor them to success. There's a lot of money on the table. And how about this? Simultaneously, we have this Get Fit recruiting bonus that you can play in too. This has been happening for a while, and it all aligns with the last 2 incentives that I told you about. It's very rich, and it's going on through campaign 19. It's open to our Unit Leader Plus and below. So AULs and above, sorry, you can't play. But basically, when somebody brings in a new person, their first new person, they receive a $125 value product bundle. Then for every person that they bring in thereon after, they make $35 for. $35 for every single one. So you couple that with the mentor bonus, you couple that with your residual earnings, you couple that with the opportunity to grow your team and have that bigger team, which equals more orders, which equals more unit sales, which equals more money in your pocket. Essentially, you have a formula for a lot of money and a lot of what's in it for you. These incentives to support your crossover are really great ways to help you get where you need to be. But as we trickle it down, it helps the district grow, the division grow, and ultimately it helps our Avon business to be healthier. But it's not going to stop there. A lot of what you're seeing now is all based on staff growth. And that's going to be the priority that we continue to see the focus on between now and the end of the year. We're just talking about bending the trend in campaign 16. But between now and the end of the year, we're going to see an incentive that might allow you to earn $15,000. Let me ask you, what would you do with $15,000? I could certainly think of a couple of things, but I just want to plant the seed and tell you that 40 representatives nationwide are going to earn $15,000, and they're going to earn it by doing one thing. You guessed it, growing their representative staff and their downlines in all 3 generations, not just the first generation. So beyond the $15,000, what would you do with an iWatch? Would you gift it to somebody at the holidays, or would you keep it yourself? These iWatch thingies, they're really high tech, aren't they? I would certainly love one. Well, guess what? You can have a chance to earn an iWatch of your own in the 4th quarter. Guess how you're going to do it? That's right, growing your representative count. And then last but not least, once we are, busy growing this representative count, we are going to be exhausted and we're going to deserve a vacation. And that's why Margaret, our president, is chartering a cruise that's just for Avon. Yep, just for Avon? And how would you like to go on this cruise and to bring a guest of your choice, a significant other, a friend, whatever? You and that person will earn a cruise when, you guess it, you grow your representative count. These incentives are available to everyone. They're coming soon. And it's all based on one thing, and that's growing rep count. So what you do now to cross over to bend the trend is going to help support you as we launch these 3 incentives that are soon to come in the 4th quarter. Pretty exciting, right? All right. So with all that said, it's hard to know where we're going if we don't know where we're at. So what I want to do, now that you understand the priority, I want to take a look at our current state of the business to give you a better idea at where we're at in regards to our staff. So you can really kind of see why we need to go where we're going, but you can also see in terms of bending the trend, what we've been doing so far. So this is the state of the business, primarily of campaign 15, starting with 1170. So 1170, we just built out of campaign 15 last night. A lot of really great things happening in 1170. You can see some significant growth in sales and orders and things of that nature. But you know what? We're looking at one thing, right? We're looking at growing staff, having more additions than removals. And what you can see in 1170 is that we had 12 additions and 8 removals. And even though this size is a growth of 5, it's actually a growth of 4, but nonetheless, it's growth. And that is exactly where we need to be. 1170 had growth in 15 of 4. We had growth in 14 as well of 2. And we needed it because the prior campaigns before that, we had staff loss. So it's nice to see that we're finally having some growth. It's at the perfect time, but nonetheless, we've got to get to that number of 396. You can see that we're at 391, so we need 5 to make that goal. And based on the momentum that we have, I have all confidence in the world that you're going to make it happen. Now, moving to 5483, same thing. We've got other great things happening in regards to sales and orders and things of that nature, but for the sake of bending the trend and crossing over, we're just looking at additions and removals. And unfortunately, we had a loss of 5. We had 7 additions and 12 removals. 12 is a lot higher than we're normally at in this district. And even though it's disappointing to have a loss of 5, the reality is that this is the first campaign of loss that we've had in 5483. And check this out, in 5 campaigns. We've been grow. Now we're seeing some loss. I feel confident that that's it. We're going to see just this one lone campaign of loss, and that we're going to get right back onto the growth track in campaign 16, because as you can see, we have representative count of 404, and we need to be at 408. So we've got to grow by 4 to make it happen and get to the goal that we need so that we can bend the trend in campaign 16. So a really brief look at the state of the business. But what I did here is I wanted to show you guys a couple of slides. When it comes to growing, it's all about 2 things: additions and removals, right? You guys need to get out, pound the pavement. That's primarily how you get those additions. Many of you have pending additions in the funnel that just need to place an order. We need to make that happen. But another really good thing for you to do is to look at your new. And so what I've done here is, in both districts, I pulled the new representatives from both districts who had, new being LOA 1 to 6, who had $100 or more order. All right. When you think about people who are doing the right thing, it's those people who have $100 or more order. And those are the ones on your team that you need to dig through your reports, find out who they are, and call them and say, hey, look, you're already qualified to be a leader. Let's get your team started. You're already doing the right thing. You already have a $100, $200, whatever dollar order. Let's now get you your first team member and help you make more money. So I just wanted to kind of show you between the 2 districts how many people that we have to work with when it comes to new. So beyond pounding the pavement, beyond your AMA leads, beyond the other things that you're doing to generate additions, why aren't you working with your new? Because as they grow, that's additions too. And as they grow, you'll in turn grow. So the additions is something that's so key to our crossover in 16 and in 26, but removals is too. They've already talked to this, but I just want to remind you that as you're working with your removals, it's all about saving your staff or getting them back. And the ones that you want to impact right now, every single campaign, are those that are past due 3 or an active 5. Past due 3 and an active 5 are the ones that are about to fall off if they don't get an order and pay their bill if they have a past due balance. We've got to impact them right now. But if you're really working the business properly, you're being proactive and working with your past due 2s and inactive 4s. So after you identify your past due 3s and inactive 5s, pull your past due 2 and inactive 4, because let's face it, if somebody's carrying a balance for 2 campaigns, they need your help getting back on track, right? They have an issue, maybe they have some returns, whatever the case may be, so you can proactively help them to stay on track. And then again, let's face it, if somebody hasn't ordered in 4 campaigns, the fact that, they haven't ordered in 4 campaigns means they don't have current brochures, that they need your help getting back on track. So, you want to impact the 3s and the 5s now. You want to be proactive and work with the 2s and the 4s and essentially save them and keep them on track. But there's another segment of people that you can really use to help leverage your staff count, and that's your removed representatives. So after you have maximized your additions and saved your removals, pull your representatives who have actually been removed. When you pull this group of removed representatives, you can sort it by their balance. And anybody on your team who's got a 0 balance, they're eligible to come back. So what a great chance for you to call them and say, hey, we missed you. Come back to Avon. It's free to come back. Let's get you reinstated. And hey, it's just in time for you to sell for the holidays. Every removed representative that comes back impacts our staff for the greater growth. So when you're doing that, it's kind of looked at as an addition, a new person, so to speak. So what a great way for you to impact your staff member for the better as you save that staff or get them back. Woo! Are you guys hanging in there? I'll tell you what, it's a lot to talk about, but I love that it's just one priority that we're focused on. Even though there's a couple of elements to the staff growth piece, I love that we're really just focused and aligned on this one priority that's going to help our company be restored to growth. But again, it's up to each and every one of you to do your part to be sure that you're saving staff on your team so that that staff growth on your team equates to staff growth in the district, in the division, in the region, so on and so forth. So with that said, without further ado, so many of you guys already making that happen. And so with that said, let me do a little well-deserved Campaign 15 recognition, starting with our leaderboard for appointments in 1170. Judy Brown, Selena Joyner, Joseph Morris, and Sandra Vickery all had a new appointment in Campaign 15. So congratulations, guys. Woo! How about the same campaign in 5483, where our lone appointment leader is none other than Suzanne Matza-Broughton. Way to go, Suzanne. Thank you for adding to the team and to your business in Campaign 15. We have some people who are moving on up, unfortunately, not in regards to title advancement, even though Victoria and Amy are so close to title and unit leader, both of them. Any campaign now, I'm sure it's going to happen. But we do have some new people introduced to leadership, starting their team. In the new advanced leadership world, they'll be called promoters. In our current world, they're called candidates. And in Campaign 17, our candidates are Sherry and Joseph. Way to go, you two. Welcome to leadership. We're so happy to have you amongst the elite in our business. And in 5483, Patricia Howe has started her team as well. And we're so happy to have you in leadership, Patricia. Moving on up. Way to go, guys. A little division recognition, if you will. Now, this is actually from Campaign 14. We just built out Campaign, actually, we haven't built out Campaign 15 nationally. So we're still, in terms of division recognition and national recognition, still looking at Campaign 14. But so many of you guys were recognized for your unit sales achievement on the division level. So I really wanted to give a special shout out to our AULs, Debbie Henry and Nancy Mizell, who are number 10 and number 13 in terms of overall division performance and unit sales in Campaign 14. Woo-hoo! It's astounding. How about this? The number 1 unit leader in the entire North Star division is none other than 1170's Maggie Murray. Way to go, Maggie. And how about this? 4 unit leaders on the board. Oh my gosh. You know how many unit leaders must be in our division? A ton. But we had the number 7, 9, 10, and 12 unit leader. That's Karen, Christine, Linda, and Suzanne. All of 5483 and all the top unit leaders in our entire division for campaign 14 for unit sales. So, woo! Hope you can hear me giving you that round of applause because it's well earned. Congratulations, lady. All right. Speaking of recognition, a little bit more to recognize. You remember this little incentive that just ended where you could earn a ticket to the Making Dreams Come True conference in Orlando? Well, guess what? 3 of our 1170 leaders earned the level 1 achievement, and that's Debbie Henry, Nancy Mizell, and Sandra Vickery. So way to go. Who's going to Orlando? Debbie, Nancy, and Sandra are. I can't wait to see you girls there. We're going to have a great time. Congratulations on your achievements. And then last but certainly not least, I am thrilled to share that District 1170 is tracking for the most elite recognition, the most elite reward of all, which is the Circle of Excellence. Circle of Excellence is tracking in the top 10% of all districts in the entire Avon Nation. It's based on sales, and right now, District 1170 is tracking in the top 10. We've got a lot of year to go before we can actually achieve it, but I have good faith in our leaders to bring on more people, which means more sales, which means more growth in terms of our quest towards Circle of Excellence. So congratulations to 1170 for tracking right now. Woo, gives me chills. Super, super, super exciting. All right, so just a few closing thoughts here, guys. Really kind of reiterating more of the same. I can't do this without you all. I can't. And neither can Avon. We need you. We need your commitment. We need your execution. We need your campaign in and campaign out commitment to looking at your numbers and saying, who's past 2-3, who's in active 5, who's past 2-2 and active 4, and reaching out to those people and helping them to stay on track. That's your team. You don't want to lose team members, right? You don't want to lose that staff. It's your team. Every team member equates to a potential order, which equates to dollars in your pocket. It's our honor as leadership representatives to really, manage that and help those people. But simultaneously, it's our honor to get out there and promote Avon and to share the opportunity of this great company, of the earnings that it offers, of the ways that it can change people's lives. That's our honor. And I need you guys to get out there more and take that honor very seriously as you traditionally face-to-face pound the pavement. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, stop with the AMA leads. They're great. I'm thrilled that AMA is working for so many, but I need you in addition to get out in your communities. You are Avon in your community. And if you're not out promoting your Avon, then, Avon just seems to kind of go away. We're not as relevant. So I hate to see that happening to our company. And it's going to take us getting out there and being that change to really turn the tides and help Avon get back to a pattern of growth. I love that our priority is simple. And I feel like you now have a really good grasp on how to make it work for you. But if you need any help in managing it through your downline manager or ways to maximize your AMA leads or words to use when you get out there and you're recruiting face-to-face, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. I would die to be back out in the field, and I can't be, but you can. So I hope that you will do just that and make me proud, make the division and district proud, make Margaret proud with her initiative. But bottom line, grow the business for yourself, for your family, for your earnings, for your future. So with that said, thanks so much. Oh my gosh. I love having the gang together, as you know, and we're going to do it again in another video coming up at the end of at least campaign 16, if not before. But I hope to talk to you each live one-on-one before then. If you need me, just give me a ring, and otherwise we'll talk soon. Thanks so much. Good night.